better to give the mail and security and
Yeah,
remove
we
that
can use or else maintain some other credentials, wrong credentials, or you can maintain. Yeah, you can do one thing. So edit it and replace the connection details itself. Actually, it will work
Same
better.
like mail server as usual for the connection.
Yes, connection, mail server, give the mail server here. Small, give it in small. You have maintained it in the small, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Whatever you have maintained,
Mails.
so same you need to maintain it here.
Yeah, mail. So here, do I need to remove some?
until SMTP.
Review the port.
Until
This
SMTP. No. Until SMTP.
SMTP dot.
Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Now
And
save
save.
it and deploy.
Yeah, save it and deploy it.
Because Dinesh, I tried only with port 2-3 times. It is not giving any error removing. So
Okay,
that's why I went until this, then it worked.
okay.
Go
Yeah,
to
maybe without port also it will. Yeah, you
sales
can say
data
deployment is
successfully
successful.
deployed. Yeah.
Yeah, so now test it from the postman, you will get that.
Here also same, right? Get. I need to take the same ID as usual.
Same, no need to change anything. No need to change
Okay.
anything.
Just send.
Got a success, go to message and check the logs in the CPI.
Go to mail trap.
Go to monitoring.
Yeah, failure.
Yeah,
Failure. Yeah.
got
Got
it.
it. Yeah.
Because we manually
Thank
disconnect
you, Dinesh.
manually disconnected the receiver connection, so that's why
Yeah.
it's working. Okay, so is everyone created it or is it working? Let me know because so when you practice it, no, then only you will identify the issues. So she practiced it and she noticed that it's not working. If anyone having any issues like this, no, please let me know so that we'll clear and we'll go for the start next class.
Yeah, Dinesh, in your system already, it's logged, right? Everything, the postman tool and mail trap. So I'm little confusing to while downloading the apps. So, so
Yeah,
while I mean, if we are telling for the new things, just for go little slow. That's it. Other than that, everything is fine.
yeah, okay.
Yeah,
So it's
because
just a tool actually. So let me share my screen. Okay. So whenever you see the Postman tool, right? So Postman tool is nothing but a just a third-party tool. Whenever you access any other apps also, like same like other app, you if you install it, right? If you install it any Postman tool or anything, no, it will give you the blank because I'm already having this, so that's why it's giving it. Showing all these details, but when you create it, right, it will be a, like it will be a blank. Like you don't see this all this, that's it. You are seeing this, right? You will not see it and you will not see this. It will be a blank for you. Like I have multiple test cases I have, so that's why it's giving multiple. If you create multiple these operations, right, if you create a new page and if you add it to something new to this, right, so it will create a new link here. So it's just a how many times I practiced and how many times I've created multiple things, right? So that's why it's showing here. Other than this, it will be empty for you. If you see yesterday, we have created uh, one scenario. We have tested it. So that's why it has created yesterday logs here. That's it. If you want to clear it now, you can clear it. That's not an issue. Clear all. If you see clear all, then it will be cleared all. Nothing. It will be in your screen like this only. Empty screen and you will get only one page. So no need to worry about this. Is only for our testing purpose we are creating. So only for get method we will use it. Endpoint URL and authorizations and credentials we will use it. That's it. And the body, so I'll tell you how the body will be used, and data how we'll post it, right? I'll show you today. Okay, so do you have any questions in the Postman tool? Anyone? Are you still struggling to test it? So let me know so that I'll brief you again. So that going further, we'll not discuss this topic directly. We'll go and use all the options. So that's why I'm telling you. If anyone have any questions or concerns, let me know right away so that we'll check it again. So I think everyone is able to access it. Right? There is no issue from here, and I hope. Guys, can you hear me? Yeah. Please respond me.
Yes, Dinesh. So far, I'm good, but later on, let's see.
Yeah. Okay. So let's see. Yesterday we have created only like we thought to create a local subprocess and integration process, but only one we have completed. Today we'll complete that as well. Okay. So local process we have these things, right? Okay. So we have a three types. Exception subprocess we already tested, and coming to local process and local subprocess. So local process and local subprocess, what is mean by? So both are the same actually. So local process already we have integration flow in the example. Let's see. So you have created already one exception subprocess, one integration process for the uh, for a flow actually. In the iFlow, you have created one integration process for the exception subprocess yesterday. Yesterday we have created one thing, right? So if you see, so same like if you want to create a new flow in within the integration flow. Okay, sometimes okay, what happened is, so sometimes you need to create a flow. Under the flow, you need to call another iFlow to get the some details. Like we have multiple receivers and multiple senders we have. So example, let me take one example. For example, we have an integration flow here. Flow. So it's going from sender to it is sender, and so this is one receiver. One receiver we have. So data is going from sender to integration flow and integration flow to receiver. So while processing it, right? So sender will send only some data. Example, some employee related data we are sending. Sender is trying to send from the sender system to receiver system. Okay. At the time, what we will do is, so we need to call one more receiver within the integration flow. We need to call one more receiver to get employee related data. Sender is sending some employee related data, right? So employee related data. So he is sending employee ID. Employee ID he is sending. Okay, employee ID sender is sending. So based on the employee ID, we need to get the employee related data like employee address, location, and role. Everything we need to get it from the other location. So at that time, what we will do is, so instead of adding this receiver in the same integration flow, we will use a local integration process to call the actual receiver. Here, so what we will do is we will use another integration flow. Okay. So let me take another local integration process. Local integration process. to call the receiver to get the data. So what it will happen is, so we here what will do, sender will send data, sender will request employee data to CPI. So CPI, what CPI will do is, CPI will call the local integration process. Under the local integration process, we have a receiver connections, right? So under the local integration process, we have a receiver connected. So local integration process will call to the receiver and get the details from him and the employee related data, right? So employee related data, it will get back to the integration flow to local integration process, and from here to integration flow, and then from here to receiver. Okay. So here the first step is, so here step one. Step one. In the step one, sender will send the employee related employee ID. So with the help of employee ID, we need to send the employee, CPI need to send the employee details to the receiver. So employee ID is there. Employee ID only have details sender will have, but employee related data will be in the other server. Okay, it's in different server. Okay, it's a, let's take a different server. Master. Okay, so this is the employee related data will all the employee related data will be available in the receiver, this server. This server, the employee related data will be available. So there is no communication between the sender to get the details from the this employee master data server, and he can't push the data to the CPA. At the time, what they will do is, so instead of calling the employee master data server, what they will do is they will call the CPA. So CPA having the capability to call the receiver system, sorry, employee master server, to get the details and send it to the receiver. So at that time, these cases will go for the integration, local integration process. So server will be the different. Server is different, and we are calling in between the integration flow to get the details. So here in the receiver side, we have employee ID we have, and address of employee, and role, employee type, is it contract or permanent. So example, this many details we have in the uh, employee related table. Okay, employee related table, these many details we have. So once we get the employee ID from the source, so what we will do is we will call the receiver employee master server, and we'll get the details from the server, and we will send it back these details to the receiver. So at this time we will use the local integration process. Actually, directly here we have two options. Directly we can call the receiver system. So instead of using a local process, or directly we can call within the local process or sub process also we can call here. So using a local process also you can call, and the using sub process. Using the sub process also you can call, both the ways, and three ways we can communicate to the receiver. So but why we are going for these processes means, so whenever we have an integration flow with the multiple steps, like example in the integration flow, if you see the integration flow, we have one step here. Okay, so we have one step in the integration flow. If you assume we have multiple, like 30 to 40 steps in the integration flow, so at that time you're supposed to call the receiver to get the data, and you need to add it to the actual receiver flow, and you need to pass it to the other multiple steps, right? So at that time it will take the uh, it will take some time to process the message and get the details from the receiver system and add it to the integration flow, and send it to the other steps. So it will take some time, and it will like it will take, it will impact the performance of the integration flow. So that's why we are going for the local sub process or local integration process. So when it comes to local integration process, right? The example, if you see, if you add any integration process in between, so this is a different process. It will take a different process. It will occupy the different node, runtime nodes, and everything. It will occupy the different process. So that's why the performance will be as expected. It will come as expected. There will be no impact in the performance, and we can easy to analyze the issue as well. Like example, something was failed while calling the receiver system. If you see, while calling the receiver system, we got a failure. At the time, only this local integration process will be failed. The remaining message, right? It will be in the not in error mode. The other messages will be processed. So it will not stuck any other messages. If it is in hold or any issue comes in between these two process, right? The other flow will be no impact. It will be process other messages. Like we have a multiple messages will be processed from the sender to the receiver system. So at that time, what will happen is, so once first message will come to the receiver integration flow. If you are directly using, example, if you are directly using, so you don't have a local sub process in between, so you are directly calling it. So what will happen is, unless until the message receives from the receiver, like example, these details will be received from the receiver one, right? So here we will receive the messages and it will process to the receiver. Until this process completes, the other messages, whatever the sender is sending, right? The other messages will be in the queue. Like example, if you go to any store, okay, once again. So can you hear me? Are you able to hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, Dinesh.
Okay. So example, yeah, if you are in a some grocery store or any store, okay, you are in the line. So the example, this is a, assume that this is a grocery counter, a billing counter. Okay, so you are in the queue. You come here. You are all you are with your groceries and everything. You come and waiting for the queue. So if you have only one counter, okay, if you have only one counter, you will be in the queue. First person will be cleared, then only you will go to the next billing, and third person will be in the queue. Like if it is increasing the queue, right, it will be problem to the uh, problem to the shop, right? No one will come and it will impact their business, right? So same process here also. So if any messages, if directly using the integration process to call the receiver and get the details, some cases we have an issue with this process. Okay, so they are taking some time to give the response back to the integration flow, and it will take some. They are taking some 2 minutes. Okay, so 2 minutes of time to give the response back to the integration flow, and we are also taking 1 minute of time again. So 1 minute of time to process our time, and these 2 times 2 minutes. So total 3 minutes. Okay. So total 3 minutes of time to process one message to the receiver. At the time, other messages will be in the queue, right? So same like if it is taking more time in the billing counter, the other person will be in the waiting period. So to avoid that waiting period, what we are doing is we are adding one more sub counter to the integration flow. Instead of calling directly, what we will do is we will adding one sub counter to the existing flow. So what this sub counter will do is sub counter will act as a integration flow, actual integration flow, but it will send back to the integration flow only. But if it is taking some time in between these two, right? For example, if it is taking time in between these two process, the actual integration flow will not impact, because it will process other messages as well. They have a multiple processes, right? So we have a multiple processes. So what they will do is they will process other messages. So this message will process and this will send it to the receiver system. So this is how the local integration and sub-process will work. Both are same actually. Both are same, and but we have a difference. We will use a one option in the actual integration flow to call this. So I'll show you that. So till now, do you have any questions? Please let me know, because most of the cases we'll use only local sub-process. Okay, local integration process will not use, because this is not not need actually. So we have a local integration process we have, so we will use this, because we will not use integration process, because we already have an integration process in the real time, but we will not use this. Most of the cases we'll use only local integration process. Okay, so till now, do you have any questions or concerns? Please let me know. I'll explain.
So if there is any exceptions in the local integration process, then are we going to use the exception process here or no? So it's got
Yeah,
like
we have a dedicated exception process will be used in this sub process or local integration process. We have a dedicated exception sub process. Here we have an exception sub process. Here we
so
have
it,
exception sub process, and same thing we have different exception sub process here also. It will also trigger an alert. We can use that. Here also we
okay.
can use that.
So two process can be clubbed in one integration process.
Yes,
So that's not
yes.
a deep. Okay.
So mainly why we are going for this is mainly to improve the performance of the integration flow. That's it. Because we can achieve this with the help of main flow also we can achieve. We can call the receiver and we can get the details. Some cases we'll do this as well, but some cases we supposed to go for this. When we go for this, we have a example. We have 30 to 40 steps in the integration flow. Okay, 30 to 40 steps. If you see 30 to 40 pallet options we use in the main integration flow. At that time, we will go for the sub process. Or after 20 or 20 to 30 steps we have in the integration flow, right? At that time also we'll go for the exception sub process here. But if it is below 20 or 10 to 15 steps, right? 10 to 15 steps. At that time, we will directly use the actual integration flow to call the receiver, because these steps will take minimum of time. It will not impact the system. So if it is having more than 20 pallet options which we used in the integration, like this is one step, right? So here, like we will use the 20 steps in between the flow, then it will give the impact in the performance. So that's why we are using a exception sub process, sorry, local integration process or sub process to overcome the performance issues, and it will help you to identify the issues and analyze the errors. If it is anything failed in between these two, we can easily analyze it. Or if it is having any connectivity issues in between these two, right? So directly we can inform them, and easy to identify the issue actually, because here we have a 10 to 20 steps. So here why we need to analyze each and every step, because where it got failed and what is the reason it's taking time. Like the example, in each step we need to validate the data, because if any wrong data is coming, right, then it will not process the receiver this message. So that's why if you use a sub process, it will help you to the identification also. We can easily identify the in the content model. If you go for the exceptions of process here, if you go for the local integration process, okay, I am taking one local integration process here. So here we will add some content. I'll show you. So here directly we can capture it using the content modifier. So before going to message, right, so we can capture the body in dollar. So this is a camel expression, okay? So don't worry about it. I'll tell you why we use this and what are the uh, expressions we'll use, okay? So in dot body. So in dot body will help you to the store the message. So whatever the data comes from the integration flow, first integration, main integration flow, right? So it will capture here. Before starting the message itself, it will capture. So then we can identify. So the output is coming as expected or not, we can capture it. So this is how the integration, local integration and sub-process, sub-integration process will work actually. So do you have any questions on it?
So
So please
Dinesh,
let me.
the local
Yeah.
integration process, it can be called multiple times.
Yeah, we can call multiple times. We can use multiple times. If you have multiple systems to call or multiple messages to get it from the other receivers or something, right? You can add it. Here we have
No,
option.
no, in the same integration flow, main integration flow, from the main integration process, can we call it multiple times?
Yes, we can call it multiple times.
Oh,
I'll show you how it will be used. Okay. So
yeah.
here we have a call. So you can see local call. This is the one of the palette option. Okay. So to call the local integration process, here we have a local call. Okay. Here we have a looping process call or process call. If you go for the process call, if I select here, so example, you have multiple example. I'll add one more as well. So local integration process I'm adding here. I'm just renaming these two. Process 2. Okay. I'm going to take this one as process 1. Okay, you just remember this name. Okay, so for one integration flow, I'm using process 2, and one integration process, we are using process 1. Okay, so here, when you're calling the process call, at that time, you need to define which one need to be called first. Here we have option to select the local integration process. It will show you the two process 1 and process 2. So this is how you will call the actual flow. Here, what we are doing is, so in the same integration flow, so we have adding one step here. Okay. So we are adding one step here to call which process need to be called first. We are defining here in the main integration process. If you add one more as well, local integration process step, and go here, and here also if you want to rename process call 2 and process call 1. This is a process call 1. Okay, in the process call 1, we supposed to call the first local integration process. We are going to select that. If you select it, automatically it will route a message to the first message. You see, so this is process 1, right? So once message is reached to this process, automatically this process call will trigger the call to process 1. So this is step 1. You take this. Okay. So let me capture this. So if you see, this is the total integration flow. So here, once the message is reached to this, right? So it will okay. So here the step 1. So this is the step 1 process. Step 1. Once step 1 is called, automatically this step 2 will go to here. Step 2 will go here and get the data, and it will add it to the flow. And step 3 will come here. Okay, so it will add here. So then once it's added to the flow, right, then step 3 will start. Step 3 will start. Okay, so once step 3 is started, then step 4 will go to step 4 will go to here. Step 4 will go to here, and once you receive the respective message, then step 5 will go to Step 5 go to actual receiver. You got it, right? First we have a received message from the sender. Then it's done some modifications in the content modifier. Then it's reached to the process called palette option. So once palette option is called, automatically the step 2 will call to the process call, actual local subprocess call it will call. And once the modification has done from this, right, it will give this message to the step 3. So in the actual integration flow, the response will be sent it back automatically in the backend. This will happen in the backend. The step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, and step 5. All these steps will come in the backend. We are just adding. We are just giving the route to the. We are just directing the process call. So how wherein you need to call and you need to get the details. You are just guiding them. So based on this identification only, it will call the actual receiver, actual local subprocess. It's like a counter assignment. If you go for if you go for visa slots or anything, right? Someone will assign you the counter in the security or somewhere. One person is there to assist you, right? So we call it as the assistance person is called as a process call, and which counter you need to go, he will define it. This process call will define it, and you'll go to that counter, and then you will do your activity in that counter and come back to the next counter. So they will do some documentation work, and they will guide you to go for the next counter, right? So same process here also will do.
So it's like parallel processing.
Yes, it's like a parallel processing. First message will go here. So in between this process, right? The second message will be processed to other process. It will be wait in this queue, not in the actual queue. If it is wait in the outside of the integration process, right? So it will impact other messages. Like you have entered one store and you have a 10 counters. You have so one person is there you to guide. But once this counter is clear, then he will assign you to go here, and the next counter will be assigned to the next person, right? So we have a runtime. We call it as in the real time. So in the real time, what we call it as some counter assignment, something we call it as, right? So but when it comes to real time, we call it as a runtime node. We use a runtime nodes here to process this actually. So use this process. We have a runtime nodes. Runtime node. Okay. So runtime node will help you to process the messages in the real-time process. Like example, in the BTP cockpit, we have selected these nodes, right? When you see here, so you can see Cloud Foundry and one process integration runtime. You can see process integration runtime process we have selected to call the integration flows. So here we have a multiple nodes. Like example, we have multiple. So we have 10 or 15 based on our integration process, our package, our subscription. We will get multiple runtime nodes. Like example, 10 or 15 nodes we have, right? So parallelly, this integration will process 10 messages in the parallelly. So if one message got stuck, example 10 parallel nodes you have, runtime nodes, the one runtime node message got stuck, and other 9 runtime nodes will be worked. If you assume 10, all the 10 runtime nodes will occupied with other messages, the 11th message will be in the queue. The 11th message will be in the queue, and 11th and 12th and other 13, 14 messages will come, right? It will be in queue. So example, if you are using directly call to the receiver system to get the data, employee related data at the time, all the 10 resources are occupied, the other message will be in queue until the messages will be released. So overcome this issue, what we are doing is we are assigning some parallel process. So first message will go here, and it will process to the local subprocess. Automatically one queue will be released from the queue, this input queue. One queue will be released because it was occupied with other subprocess. One process is released, right? So then one queue will be cleared. So automatically the message will be received to the actual integration flow. So once the message is processed from here, the other message also will be come here. Like it's a first in, first out service process. When you go to counter, you are in the first place, so they will assist first, and the other person will be assigned to the next queue. So this is how the process will be happened if you go for the local integration process and local sub process. So you got an idea, right? So how we will use and where we will use. So let me know if you have any questions here. We have discussed so this local sub process and the runtime nodes and everything. So if you have any questions on any topic, you just let me know.
So, Dinesh, like the way we discussed that, at any given point of time, we will have only one exception process, right? For an integration process. Similarly,
Yeah, for one integration flow, we have one exception sub process.
so similarly, it applies for a local integration process as well, right? Even
Yes,
for local integration process also, there will be only one exception sub process.
yes, it will not accept you to add it. So I have added one here, and I'm trying to add one more exception here.
Okay.
So it will accepting, but it will not work actually. So if you have a step 3, then like example, so but it will not accept actually. In the real time scenario, it will not work because already we have configured start 3. But if you have any error step, like example, when this will work, I'll tell you. Okay, so let's example, remove this, remove this.
No,
Or else I'll do one thing in the main
but
integration flow. I'll add.
whether we are able to add it or not here, let us just wanted to know theoretically. So at any given
Yeah,
point
we
in
can
time,
add
when
it.
there will, okay.
We can add it, but the thing is we have some process for it, and only for particular cases we can add it. Like example, if you see, let me delete this. Okay. So example, this is one sub process. Okay. So here what we have a router. So I'll tell you, this will come in the different topic actually. So we have error one. So this is going to one receiver, and we let me add one receivers. Okay. So we have multiple receivers case. This is one receiver, and we have other receiver, and we have other receiver. Okay, so example, we have 3 receivers. In the real time, we will follow these steps. Okay, we have 3 receiver concept. So what we will do is we will add one router condition in between these 3. So I'll tell you what is router and how it will work. Okay, we have palette option, we can discuss. So what I'm doing is I'm adding message here. So and the message is not working. Okay. So here I have these routers. I'm adding this to here. Adding this to here. So here we have a 3. Okay, actually this will work only the main integration flow. Let me do one thing. I'm just deleting this. And this 3. So we have a 3 receiver. 3 receivers. I'm adding router condition in the last. I'm adding multiple end messages here. Okay. So here what will happen? The router condition will work as a to process multiple messages actually. It will work as a traffic signal. Okay, so when message comes right at the time, it will route the route. It will route the route. Okay, based on the your path. It's like a signboard. Router is like a signboard. If you want to go one location, it will route you to the signboard. Will show you the direction to go to the particular receiver. So let's take any HTTP. Okay. Let me take. So here we have a 4 endpoints. Okay. So here for one example, receiver 1. So here we have a end 7, right? So we have, if you add exception subprocess here, so it will it will allow you to process only the particular. Here you can see error end 7 message, right? So here what you need to do, you need to add one error case here. So I am going to add one more error message. Error event. Okay. So we have one error and event here. I'll tell you in detail. So how we will use them. How we will use this in the later classes. Okay. So here we have an error and event. Example. So one case, whenever you see the messages has failed in the receiver side, at that time you need to call this exception subprocess. But other than this, any other messages. Okay, example, one case you need to send alerts to the alerts to the sender system. One case. Another case, it's not satisfying any receivers. Okay, example, we have multiple. Let's take one example. Okay. So it will come under next topic. Okay, I'll cover this as well. So how it will work. So we have some XPath condition concept. XPath condition concept. It will help you to identify the messages. So example, we have some data. Root and subnode. Under the node we have fields. The employee ID, location, and role. Okay. So subnode root. So this is how the actual structure will be there actually. So this is how the sample structure. This is start and start point. This is the end point. Okay, so this is how the structure looks actually. The XML structure, a text format structure will be look like in the process. This is structure. We call it as a payload. We are talking about data, right? In the real-time scenario, we'll use the data to transfer from sender to receiver and receivers to other receivers. So this is a data format. We will get some format. Example, this is sample format. Okay, so we have root node. Under the root node, we have subnode, and we have some fields. Fields called as employee ID, location, role. These are all the fields. Okay, example, this is one of the field. Okay, so when we are going to segregate data with the employee ID, like example, we have a router condition. Then the router condition, what we will do is we will add one XPath conditions. Okay, XPath if employee ID equal to 1, it needs to transfer receiver to. Example, we have added some condition in the router. Okay, so here we will add some condition. I'll show you how it will be added. Okay, so here if you see, actually it's not selecting. Okay, if you see here, we have multiple routing conditions is showing here, right? So we need to add condition here. I'll when router comes, right, at the time I'll guide you. So here the process, actually the process will be here. If employee ID equal to 1, we need to call the receiver 1, and if employee ID equals to 2, then at the time we need to call receiver 2, and employee ID equals to 3, we need to call receiver 3. and employee ID equal to 4, we need to call receiver 4. We have these 4 conditions. Okay, if we have other receiver, other condition, other employee ID is coming, at the time we need to ignore it. So example, employee ID is coming 5. Okay, at that time we don't have any receiver here. We have only 4 conditions. One is related to receiver 1, receiver 2, receiver 3, receiver 4. But when it comes to other, at that time what we will do is we will end the message. Okay, here we have an end message. You can see. Yeah, error end. Okay, we have an error and we have added to the receiver. In this case, what we are doing is instead of sending messages, okay, example, so here we have all the positive cases. We take it as all the positive cases. Employee ID is equals to 1, 2, 3, 4. It's not satisfying, it's satisfying the ID condition, but while calling the receiver, at the time it's failing. So at the time we need to send the notifications to the sender system. Okay, because it's satisfying the sender condition, but we are getting exception in the receiver one end only, or receiver two. It is satisfying the receiver two, but it's not reaching to the receiver system. At that time we need to send actual error to the source system, actual error notifications to the source system. At that time what we will do is we will capture exceptions of process 1 to send the mails to the receiver system. But this is a positive case when it comes to actually it's satisfying the receiver condition, and while calling the receiver system, we are getting failed. A message got failed, and we are adding one exception subprocess to process the messages in the real time. Okay, so send the notifications to the sender. At that time, we'll use it. But when it is not satisfying the condition, okay, if it is not satisfying the condition, example, employee ID is 5. There is no receivers captured here. There is no receiver assigned to this. So it's negative case, right? At that time, we no need to send this notification to the sender. Why? Because it's not having any issue with other receivers, right? It's not assigned to any receiver, and even no one will take care of it. If it is failed also, no one will take care of it. Only for our identification purpose, we are adding one exception here. So at these cases, we can add it. So for positive case, we need to send a notifications to the sender. At the time, we will add one exception subprocess here. We will use one exception subprocess, actual exception subprocess we will use here. And when it comes to non-receiver and a non-identification of receiver system, we will use exception sub process 2. Okay, so we will use exception sub process 2 here, because we will not assign here, we will just use only the exception sub process. We will not assign any mail configurations, anything. Only we will store the payload. To use store the payload, that's it. Okay, only to store the payload, what data we received. Like example, we have employee IDs coming 5, right? So we need to store it. The whatever data is coming from the source, we need to store here. So we need to copy and we need to store it in the exception subprocess level. That's it. So at that time we will use it, but in the real time, we will not go for this process, because only one exception subprocess will be recommended by the SAP. Only for our identification purpose, I'm telling you, because we can use the 2 exceptions subprocess, and which case we will use that. So are you clear on it, or do you have any concerns or questions?
Dinesh, to be frank, it's very, very confusing. Theory.
Yeah.
See, we are actually not done with most of the palette functions. I do understand that you
Yes.
are trying to, create a scenario and explain here, but without having the knowledge of the palette functions, like where to use, what to use, and why do we use.
Yeah.
Though
So
you
that's
try
why.
to, no, though you try to create a scenario, most of us might not be understanding it. See, frankly speaking, yeah, it's very, very confusing. So theoretically, what I asked is, my simple question is like the way, like the way we only have one exception sub process for an integration process in any given time. Is that going to be the
Yeah.
same for sub integration process as well? As we are,
Yes.
I think we can create multiple sub-integration processes, right?
Yes, we can create multiple sub-integration process. Each sub-integration process can have a capability to add one exception sub-process.
No, I'm referring to local integration process, not the
Yeah,
main
local
sub-integration.
integration. Yeah, local integration process also we have that option. If you use any other, here also you can use that. Here also you can use local exception sub-process. Because here
So,
also we are calling some receivers to get the data, right? So here if
so
you see
any
here,
iFlow, so any artifact or iFlow that we are creating, they will be having more than one integration process and multiple local integration process, and every integration process or local integration process will only have one exception sub process at any given time. Is that correct?
yes, yes, yes.
And the main integration flows can be also, more than one, not just one.
Yeah, we can add it more than one, but that's not recommended.
That's not
We
recommended.
can add
So
it. Yeah,
generally,
that's not recommended.
so generally we will only have one integration process in any iFlows, but we will have multiple local integration process to balance the workload.
Yes, workload. Yes, to
Okay.
overcome the performance issues.
Performance issues. Okay, got it. Got it. See, what I mean to say is, Dinesh, I do understand that you are trying to give us some real-time, explanation with the
Yes,
real-time
I
examples.
understood. Yeah.
But
That's
if
why
you are
I'm not
creating,
going in detail. Yeah,
no, no,
that's why
no,
I'm not going in detail. I'm just showing because we'll discuss all these topics later.
right,
When
right.
it comes to this route topic, right? At that time we'll discuss how we'll maintain all those. We will discuss it. So, but our
Sure,
case
sure.
for now, our scenario is to ignore all this. Okay, so delete
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
So for our case, so why we are using and is there any possibility to use that? That's it. Our case is to use whether we can use multiple sub process, multiple exception sub process in the flow or not. We can. So that's why I'm just showing you how it will be used in the real time scenario will be like this when it comes to, right? So multiple cases we can add it, multiple receivers we can add it, multiple exceptions of process we can add it in the real time. So this will be a step. If you see here, this is one step and this is one step. This is one step. If it is processing and taking so much time in the process called one, the other messages will be in the queue. So that's why we are adding a local sub process to ignore the performance, to avoid the performance issues in the real-time scenarios. Because in our test cases, we'll test only one or two messages from the sender side. But when it comes to actual scenario in the live, right, at the time you may receive lakhs of messages for the integration flow. Example, you may receive 10,000 messages in within 1 hour or 20,000 messages within 1 hour. Depending upon the business accessibility, we will receive it. We will receive the messages. At that time, the performance will be having issues. So that's why we are adding this. SAP has introduced this local subprocess concept to avoid the performance issues. Okay. So till here, you just no need to worry about all the process. Okay, you just need to understand why we use a local sub process and where to use. That's it. If you have any receiver to call and get the data at that time, you can go for the process call. You can go for the local sub process call. But when we go for it directly, if you have one or two steps, you can go it. That is not required. But if you have a 10 steps or 20 steps, so then that need of usage need to use this process call. Otherwise, no, it will give some performance issues. So you need to analyze that. If it is like example, if you are in a traffic, so you have only one lane to go to route, right? So at that time you have 10 vehicles in front of you. So it will take some time to process travel to somewhere, right? So if you have multiple lanes, like example lane 1, lane 2, lane 3, right? At that time you go any line, right? If one lane is in traffic, if you want to go faster, then you can change your lane and you can go it, right? So same process. What we are doing is we are adding one local process here to change the process, to improve the performance. We are changing it. That's it. So still, do you have any questions? Because in the going further, we'll use this. I'll show you in the real time as well.
So
Okay. So I'll show you one
process,
real time scenario now. Yeah. Someone is speaking.
yeah, process call 1 and process call 2 you mentioned, right? So
Yes.
those are sequential, right? One process
Yeah,
call,
sequential.
yeah, okay, sequential, okay.
I'll show you, right? Here you can see. If you see process call 1, right? First process call 1 will be finished. Process call calls to the step 2. Then once it's process call finished, then only the third step will be started.
Executed,
Otherwise,
okay,
no, it will
so
not.
yeah.
If it is failed here itself, right? The message,
Mhm.
entire message will be failed. It will not go to other process. For example, message comes to step 1 and while processing in the step 2, it got failed. So entire message will be failed. It will not go
Entire
to other
everything.
step.
Yeah, correct.
Yes.
Okay. So those are dependent on each other, basically. Okay.
Yes, they have a dependency. So each step will they have a dependency. If it is failed in
Dependency
the
anyway. Okay.
yeah.
So
For
we don't
example, if
have
it is failed in the
any, yeah, do we have any chance to do both process parallelly? Process
yeah,
call one, call,
we
we
have
have
that
some
option.
options.
I'll
Oh, we have that option. Okay, okay.
yeah. Just now I have shown you one router, right? So with the
Okay.
help
Oh,
of router, we can parallelize it, or we
parallel
have
it, right.
other
Okay.
process also. Yeah,
Because it
we
no
have
need to be,
other.
because I wanted like those two process should be done in the same time,
Yeah,
right?
we
I
can
know
do
it
that.
not. We can do that one, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
we have two methods. Okay, one is router method to call, and one is multicast. The multicast will be used to parallel or sequential. You can see
Ah, okay. Got it.
parallel or
Okay.
sequential. So you can send messages parallelly and sequentially. If you see here, this looks like a same router condition, but here we can add other process call as well.
Other process.
So
Okay. So
I'll
those.
guide you how it will be used. How it will be
Yeah,
used. Okay.
exactly. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so
Sometimes we
let's
may
see.
not be sequential. Sometimes, yeah.
Yes, yes. It's not. It may not be. Okay. So now I'll do one thing. We will test one scenario. Okay. So here, so we have a process. I'm adding one process call here. So I'll add one local process, local integration process here. I'm just giving for exception. I'm adding for exception. Okay. I'm not adding anything. I'm just adding this for exception case. So instead of adding subprocess here, what I'm doing is I'll add the subprocess in the this flow. Earlier, what we did is we added the acceptance subprocess to send the message to our system, right? So now what I'm doing is I'm adding the acceptance subprocess here. So here, what I'm doing is I'm capturing the payload. I'm just capturing the payload using the content modifier. So these are all work under camel expressions. We call it as a camel expression. Dollar it starts. This is right. So this is a camel expression. Dollar curly braces open and close. Right. This we call it as a camel expression. So most of the scenarios from the CPI will work on the camel expressions. I'll show you what are the expressions and how we will use that as well in the later classes. When it comes to picture, right, at the time I'll show you. Okay. So for now, I'm using in dot body. So in dot body, this is one of the camel expressions. We can store the payload, whatever the data you are sending it from. For example, you are sending some data. Let's take this. Okay. So you have this data. This is one of the data we are trying to test from the sender. Okay. So at the time, it will store this payload in the log content modifier level. It will store it. I'll show you how it will store. Okay. So I'll show you next we'll discuss about this content modifier as well. I'll show you that as well. So here we have acceptance of process. Okay. So now, so here we don't have acceptance of process here. So here I'm adding this. I'm adding one receiver here to call the message, to call the failure. So same case. Yesterday, what we did is in the same integration flow, we added a mail server, to mail server to get the message, right, for failure cases. So here also I am doing the same process, but I'm doing the exception process in the other process, in the local sub process I'm doing it. Okay. So here once I need to call the receiver, right, at the time I need to use one parrot option here. So that is called a request replay. Request replay is it's a like a synchronous message. Okay, so it will help you to add the receiver. If you see here, without request replay, let me cancel. Without request replay, we don't have option to add. If you see here, it will accept it, but it will not send back the response. Okay, sorry, it's exception, right? Yeah, it's an exception, we can add it. Okay, so when you want to call any receiver from the flow, you cannot add it. Exception, we can add it. You can see the difference. This is the main flow of exception. This is the main flow of local process. Okay, so this is the main flow of local process. This is exception to sub process. So here we don't have an option to call the actual receiver. So the arrow mark is not showing here. When it comes to end message, it's showing, but when it comes to local process, it's not showing. So here, if you want to add any receiver to call, right, at the time we need to add external call request replay. So here request replay will have the capability to call the receiver. So here also we have option to add the request replay. So automatically it will suggest you. Okay, so here from here also you can add it, or if you want to add anything in the integration flow, you can add. We have a plus symbol here. If you select it, right, whatever the required parrot options you want to add it, you can add it, or automatically SAP will recommend you the next steps as well. Most of the cases, so SAP will recommend you if you choose this. If you see here I'm adding one thing. Okay, here I'm trying to add one thing. SAP is recommending to use a receiver system. Okay, because request replay will have the capability to call the receiver, only call the receiver to get the data. So that's why it's recommending only one option here. If you go here after content modifier, if you add here, it will show you three messages, three recommendation steps. Because in these steps, you can add request replay in the next step, or you can end a message, end event. You can use end event to end the message, or you can add a Groovy script. Groovy script means this is some type of a code we can use uh, to achieve the requirement. Some cases, no. So the parrot option will not satisfy all the requirements. At the time, we will go for the Groovy scripts. Okay, so I'll tell you when it comes, when this topic comes, right? At the time, I'll get. So this is how the steps will be recommended by the SAP. So you can use this based on this recommendation also. You can use this, or you can use the request replay directly. You can call the receiver. Okay, so once you call it, right, you will get the receiver system details. I'll add receiver system here. Okay, I'll add the mail servers. Okay, so here yesterday we have added some mail trap here, right? So instead of adding this, what I'm doing is I'm adding this. So let me add this mail trap. I'm just going here. I'm just adding same process. Yesterday what we did in the main flow, but now what I'm doing is it in the local flow. Both will work as the same. Both our integration process and sub process will act as the same process, work as the same. But here, extra thing we are doing is we are adding one extra request replay to call the receiver. That's it. Okay. So here I have a things, right. Let me copy that as well. Okay. This means basic authentication, username and password. So now you are clear about this mail server, right? So all are clear, right? Okay, I'm just adding this mail ID for reference. Okay, because from where we are getting this mail. Okay, so local subprocess we are getting with a success case and just adding this for reference. Okay, so here I'll take the mail ID. So you are getting right why I am taking this and what is the use of it. So let me know if you have any doubts, or if I'm going speed or anything else, you just let me know. So here yesterday what we did is we directly added this exception here to get the mail. But now what I am doing is I am adding one local and rename it otherwise. It will be local. Okay, so local subprocess. I'm calling one local subprocess here to get the data. Okay, so here, so what I did is I just added one local subprocess to the parallelly to the integration flow, and here I'm calling one mail server to post the data. And once it's posted, right, it will give some response back to you. So here the receiver is not required. Okay, so here the receiver is not required because message will be end here. Okay, so there is no receiver here. For success case, I'm adding one mail server here. The mail details and everything I configured for success case, and for failure case also I need to call this, right. So I just copy it. We have a copy configuration symbol, so we can copy it and we can add one receiver and we can add one acceptance subprocess here. So copy, and here from here we have a paste symbol. You can see the paste symbol, right? You can paste it. Okay, so it's showing paste is not allowed here actually. Yeah, so we have a copy paste symbol. If you want to paste some parameters, you can paste here. And some cases it will work actually. For this case, it's not working. Some configurations level it will work. So I'm taking the mail server. I'm going here. I'm adding the mail server details again. Copy this. So you're getting right why I'm adding this and what is the use of it? Are you getting?
Yeah, exception means you are adding for because of the failure scenarios, correct?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, okay.
So exception why I'm adding this? Just for our understanding purpose, I'm creating this flow. In the real time, actually, we will not follow this process. We'll follow to call the receiver to get the details actually. So we don't have a receiver, right? So we don't have any receiver server to get the details, right? So that's why I'm using a mail server only here.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. So this is for failure case. Here I'm adding the server details. Five 87.
So one artifact have only one exceptional flow
Yes,
sub-process.
it's
That's it,
recommended. Yes.
right?
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
recommended process. We can
it
use
is
it
recommended.
multiple,
Yeah,
but
for one artifact. Yeah, that is
recommended
one
is
is
one.
fine. And where did you refer to that local sub-process in that main integration process?
So we have one parrot option. This is one of the parrot option. Okay.
Under
So
process
this
call one, right? Yeah, under process call one. Yeah, okay. There
the
you
process
mentioned.
call. Here we are defining the process call.
Oh,
The
there you are
process call.
defining the local sub-process. Okay, okay. Then it will
If it is
refer.
not defined,
It, yeah,
if it is not defined correctly, it will not work correctly. You need to analyze which step need to be go first and which step need to go second. It needs to identify. Then only it will work. Otherwise, no, it will not work. Okay. So here,
Correct. Yeah.
so what I'm doing is instead of getting the acceptance subprocess from the main flow, I'm added one local subprocess here to call the mail server to get the data, post the data. At the time, if it is having any failures, at the time we need to send some notifications to the mails as well. So I have added for failure case, I have added, and success case also I have added. Yesterday we have did the same thing in the main flow. Now what I am doing is I am adding this to the exception local subprocess flow. That's it. The change is this. How it will work, we will check this. Okay. So now I'm saving it. Request replay. It's giving some. Okay, so it needs to go to receiver, some receiver. Okay, so I'll add receiver. So I'll just add some.
Why again another receiver? Here we are already in the
Yeah,
subprocess we have receivers, right?
because the request replay is expecting, so it will like how request replay is work, right? So whenever you call someone, so someone needs to send, like example, you go and pick some order from the location. So this is like a pick and drop process. It will pick some data from the server and it will drop it to somewhere. So it's expecting some receiver. You go to
Uh,
logs.
okay. Because it is
So
calling
it's like
from
a
the
sequence.
main process, right? So that's why it is
Yes, it's
expecting the
called.
receiver.
Yes, it's expecting. So that's why I'm adding. I not added anything. I'm just adding the connection details as dummy. Okay, I'm just adding dummy credentials. So I'm not adding anything as well. I'm just saving this. Okay, it will be in the HTTP format. Mm, okay, so I'm deploying this. Validation failed. Somewhere the validation failed.
There is
Problem.
one.
Replay is not supported for the adapter. Okay, so the mail is not supporting for here. Okay, so what I'll do is, yeah, instead of mail, I'll add one HTTP. Okay, so mail itself it's not supporting. So I'll add one dummy HTTP here. So anyway, it will fail. Okay, so our scenario is to whether the local subprocess is calling or not. We want to know. That's it. So here I'm just adding the dummy configurations. I saved it because the request replay, how request replay work is, so it will go to this receiver and get the data and send it to the actual flow. So at the time, what the mail server will not give a response back, right? It will just capable. Mail server is only capable to receive messages. There is no automated system in the mail to respond back to the others, right? So, like example, if you receive any mail, so there is no automated system to respond back to that user, right? You need to send it manually. Unless until you will not reply back to that, right? It will not accept. So that's why it's giving an error because the request replay will expecting the response back from this this receiver one. So that's why it has given error. Okay. So let me deploy this. Now the deployment is completed. You can see the deployment status. It will show the status here. Now the deployment is completed. You can see the started. So now in this flow, what we are achieving is, so we are sending one message to the local integration process. In the local integration process, we are expecting some mail to be triggered because the HTTP server is not there. This is a dummy server. Anyway, the connection will not work. At that time, it needs to send some exception to the mail, whether is that mail is reachable to us or not. We are checking now. The in the sender side also we don't have any connection. This is also dummy. So this one is also not work. So anyway, it needs to trigger in a failure case to our mail ID. So you are clear on it, right?
Yeah, sounds like yeah.
Yeah. So let's see. So let's go to monitoring and let me duplicate this with duplicate it. Let's go to integration flow. Check the endpoint. So we have to check this endpoint whether is it correct or not. Okay, so the endpoint is there. We just copy it. We'll go to Postman. Yesterday we have this endpoint, same endpoint. Same endpoint. Okay, no need to resend it. Okay, so here we are adding some body. Okay, so here I'm adding some body to here. So I'm added some body, but we are capturing something in the content modifier, right? In the yesterday also we have captured it. So only that message will be go to the receiver. Okay. So let's test it. We have authorizations and everything, and we are testing this. Let me test this. See, the performance time is taking time. Yesterday we got within the time, but now we got some time. It was taken 5.28 seconds. So the time has increased because we have added one more process to this, right? So that's why it's taking. If you have a 10 steps, it will take more than expected time. So that's why the response will be failed. So here we have added in dot body. Okay. Okay. So we have not captured anywhere. So that's why the external property is giving. So I'll show you how it will be added. Okay. So here we have added in dot body. So we have response in dot where in dot body is maintained. Can someone tell where in dot body has maintained?
Content modifier.
So we have two content modifiers. In which content modifier it was maintained?
Message body.
No. Which content modifier? We have content modifier 1 and 2, right? So which
2.
content modifier it was?
It is in 2.
2.
It is two, content modifier 2.
So content modifier 2, we have in dot body has maintained, but we have content modifier 1 as well, right? You see here, we have content modifier 1 as well. In the content modifier also, we have maintained some body, constant body. Why it was not triggered?
Yeah, because we have defined the process call, right? Process.
No,
I
it
mean,
is
which step?
overrides. The second one is overrides. First one.
Not override actually. It will ignore it. It will not take it as further because we are not capturing it. Okay, so here in the content modifier we are adding different. If you want to capture this body as well, so you need to add here as well. Okay, you need to add one property here to capture the data. Okay, so here we have a header and external property, so here we can add it. For now we are just ignoring the content modifier one data and we are taking only the in dot body here. In dot body actually, so we need to maintain some properties. So it was not maintained, so that's why the body is not captured. Okay, so here we are capturing in dot body. So here actually we supposed to maintain expression instead of constant. We supposed to maintain expression. So I missed to maintain it. Okay, so that's why it has given only the in dot body as a response. So now
So
let's go
to
to
the
mail
email.
server.
No.
Yeah.
Dinesh, 1 second. So you said like content modifier 1 is ignored, and that's the reason we got the content modifier 2. Whatever the body we have in the content modifier, when we called it from the mail trap, we got it.
Yes.
So now why content modifier 1 is ignored? It is actually going by the process call 1, right?
Yes. Actually, I did one mistake here. Okay, so I'll tell you. So instead of using a constant, I supposed to use expression. So I'll tell you. Actually, we thought to complete content modifier today, but so I thought to bit slow because if it is initial classes we can go slowly, but later classes we can go faster because we know the process, right? So that's why I'm taking so much time to explain it clearly. Okay, so here actually earlier I used a expression as a constant, but now directly I'm using expression. If you save it and deploy it, the difference between this expression and a constant, right? So constant will send whatever the data available in the content modifier. Constant is nothing but a constant value. Like example, you are taking one x value here, only the x value will be processed. If you taking y value here, only y value to the processor. But you are taking expression, and in dot body, dollar in dot body, right? So dollar in dot body is a expression to capture the previous day, previous content modifier data or previous process data, previous step data. It will store here. So that's why this body will help you. Okay, I'll just cancel this. Okay, because I already deployed it. Okay, so we have in dot body here. Now I will test it again. I will go to test menu. So earlier we have in dot body. Now I'll test it. Let's see what message will come. See, now the message has come. Sample mail test from the exception subprocess. This we maintain in the content modifier body. You can see sample mail test from exception subprocess. You got it right? The difference between in the content modifier, we have two options. Okay, if you go for expression, okay. So if you go for constant, whatever the body is having the constant text, right? Text or something, it is maintained in the body. This will be triggered to the next application, next step. Okay. When you maintain any expression, if you maintain any expression, so expression will work as a dependent. So whatever, like example, I'll come and give some data. So you take the data and you will give it to the next person. So this is how the expression will work. If it comes to constant, I am coming to you and I am giving something to you, but you are not giving that to the third person, third party person. You are whatever you have in your hand, you are just giving it to them. So whatever you have the data in the constant, right? You are giving this to the next step. If you have an expression, whatever I give it to you, you will give it to them. You got you are clear on it, or do you want me to explain anything?
No,
So
it is like,
example,
you know, see,
yeah. So example, yeah. One second. So example, I have one guava fruit in my hand. Okay. So you have one chocolate in your hand, and third person don't have anything. Assume it. Okay. So I have guava. So I'll give it to you. I'll give it to you. So in the expression, I'm telling you in the expression parameter. Okay. I'll give you the guava to you, and you will give that guava to the third person. When it in the expression, if you go for the constant, okay, I'll give you the guava, but you will not give that guava to the third person. You will give only chocolate, whatever you have in your hand, right? In your pocket, whatever you have, these data you will give it to the third person. So this is how the constant and expression will work. So all are getting, or do you have any?
But why content modifier 1 is ignored and 2 is executed? That is.
Yes, because in the content modifier we use, let me cancel it. Okay, discard. Okay, earlier in the content modifier 1 we are using a sample mail. Okay, but the content modifier 2, earlier I used a constant here. Instead of expression, I used a constant. If I use a constant, whatever the body, in dot body, like let's remove this in dot body. Okay, I'll taking one XYZ. Okay, I'm taking one XYZ, saving it, I'm deploying it. If you see here, I'm saving it and deploying it. Only if I am in the constant, the XYZ will go to the third party system.
So
The
this
receiver.
has precedence than that one.
Yes. If you maintain, if you expressions, this in dot body is a dollar expressions to capture the previous message. In dot body, I'll show you this difference as well. Okay, let me XYZ. So this is the body in dot body. So I'm using the constant now. I'm just save this and deploy it. Just observe carefully. Here I'm using a content modifier type is a constant.
In the second content modifier, right? You are changing.
Yes, in the second content modifier.
Okay.
In the second content modifier, I'm using this. I'll go to message. I'll test it. When it is in the expression mode, at the time I received whatever the message has coming from the content modifier, we received it. I'll send right away. then you will see what you will get it. You can see the XYZ and invert body has come. Why? Because we are used a constant in the content modifier too. It was ignored. The first message will be ignored. If whatever data comes in the first message, first content message or before this step, right? Before this process called step, it will be ignored. It will be not taken to the further. So this is
What
how
is
the
there
content
under
modifier.
modifier one? What is there? It is expression.
Constant.
It is
It
expression.
is
Constant
it
we
is
used it.
it is also constant. Okay,
Constant.
both are constants.
Also constant. So here I used a sample mail text. If I want to use expression here, right?
Yeah, that's what. Yeah.
Here also I can capture it. So I'll take this as well. So sender side we are sending some data. So in dot body, this is one expression. Okay, so this is one expression. So I'm using it. So earlier what we did is we have sent this data, but we are not receiving this data to the response, right? So let me test this. Okay, I'll save this and deploy it. Now in the both content modifier we have expression only.
Both,
The
yeah,
both
you have
content modifier.
expression, but different message. One is an XYZ in body, another one is
Yes,
only in
one
body.
is XYZ and one is in constant with body.
In word,
Okay,
correct.
earlier with the constant body, what we did, we received XYZ and in that body we received it. Now I'm going to change this in the expression. Save this and deploy it. Okay, now in the both content modifier, we have a expression only. If I send, what I supposed to receive. If both are expression, in the both cases, I'm capturing the body. Whatever the body is coming from the source, I'm capturing. So what would be the output?
I'm assuming only in body, that one.
No, the top one, root, subnode, everything will come. Let's see.
Yeah. Let's see. Okay. So please careful on this because content modifier is the main, like it's like a heart to this integration flow. So what it has given the output, if you see the output, this is a body, actual body which we sent. Okay, and we have XYZ as well.
Can you show the email trap?
Yeah, the email also you will get the same. The
Okay.
email also will get the same. XYZ, see, step by step will go. The first case, we received in dot body because we maintained content modifier 2 with constant and we added this. So that's why we received it. And next we changed it to expression. The
Expression.
content modifier 2. In the content modifier 2, we changed it to expression from constant to expression. So that's why whatever data is available in the content modifier 1, the data has updated in the receiver system. Okay, first case we used a content modifier 2 with a constant and content modifier 1 is also with constant, but content modifier 1 data has ignored. So content modifier 1 data has ignored and only content modifier 2 data has processed to the receiver system. And second case we tested with content modifier 1 is constant and second content modifier is expression. We used the expression. This expression we used in dollar body. We used it. So that's why content modifier 2 has taken the whatever data is coming from the content modifier, right? From the source, not a content modifier. From the source, whatever data is coming. So the data we have taken and processed it to the receiver system. This is second case. And the third case, what we did is we added expression along with some constant. Okay, in the content modifier 2, we used a constant expression along with some XYZ we have added it. So that's why it has given this expression here. This is the third case. And the fourth case, what we did is in the both content modifiers, we used expression. You see in the content modifier 1, we used expression, and the content modifier 2 is also we added expression. So here also we are capturing in dot body. Okay, here also we are capturing whatever the sender, who is the sender here? Postman is the sender. The postman is sending some data. So we are capturing this data. Along with data, we are adding one extra comment to do this in the second content modifier. XYZ, we are adding it in the second content modifier. The first content modifier, whatever the source is sending, this data has captured. Along with data in the content modifier 2, we are adding one extra XYZ to the actual body. Whatever the source is sending, we are adding some extra to the XYZ. If you add some success case or something, right? If you add success case, okay, so then automatically it will change from here in the receiver. What we did, we received XYZ. So now what will happen? XYZ will be replaced with the success case because we are using a success case instead of XYZ. I'm using success case. So this is how the expression will work. Okay. So mainly you need to understand the content modifier, how the content modifier is performing, how it's modifying the data. Actually, content modifier will help you to modify the data. If you take in the real time, out of 100 scenarios, 99 scenarios will be used content modifier. Without content modifier, 99% you don't achieve the requirement unless until it's a plain pass through. Like some cases pass through, sender will send some data and receiver we need to pass the data, and that cases also we will use it. Some cases you need to capture the payload, right? That cases also you can use it, but 99% we will use content modifier. Without this we can't create we can't achieve most of the requirements. That's the main use of the content modifier. You need to understand this content modifier. If you take time and understand it, you can ask multiple times. I'll explain you.
One point here. Why it is required? Yeah, can you please go on mute? 1 minute. This echo is coming. Finish. So, can anyone tell what do you understand about content modifier? Whatever comes to your mind, please share.
That's actually, it's all about data, like what we are going to send it to the receiver.
Okay, anyone else?
KP, it is used to modify the content of the message, either by adding or updating or the deleting message.
No, I am not asking about definition. What do you understand?
That's
So
what. If
anyone
suppose
else?
if there is a PO and if you want to, if you are sending it from sender to receiver, in between, if you want to add the doc type to that, or if you want to change the doc type, then in that case, use this.
But that is not covered till
Partially.
now, right?
No.
We don't know that.
Let us go to the next one. Anyone else?
Yeah, as per Dinesh just explained us.
No, Srikanth. No. What do you understand? What comes to your mind about content modifier?
Okay, it's like sending the message, like whatever the body we maintain,
Next.
right?
Anyone else? Any other answers? What it means? There are two words. Try to understand those two words. It is self-descriptive. Content modifying. Modifications are like adding, deletion, subtraction, all those things, right? These are the modifications what you do. What do you mean by content? From where you get the content? What is your content? When you are dealing with an integration flow, what is your content?
Source message.
That is the only one, right? We take the input message from the source, and then we consider it as our content, and we are going to operate different functions, and then we achieve our target expecting message, and we give to target. Is this clear? What is our content? Guys, you need to speak out.
As told, the source content.
No, we get our content is the source message, right? Suppose once you take the message into our integration process, you have 20 steps. I'm talking about 15th step. What will be my input to 15th step? Guys, all the steps will be running in a sequence, right?
So the result of the 14th step will always.
Yeah, exactly. That is my content. For 15th step, what is my content?
Yeah, the result of 14th step. Okay.
Output of 14th step. Is this clear to everyone?
Yes.
So if you understand this concept, when you are working on 20th step, your content is output of 19th step. Correct?
Yes, yes.
So is this simple and clear? Everyone understood, right?
Yeah.
Anyone having any question? Yeah. Now you took the message from postman. Good. Your source message is content. You started first step. Okay. Content modifier 1. You're good. If you want to add some static or standard or static message on the top of the given message. So why it is $in.body? Anyone having any idea? In means input, body means message body. Okay. To that particular step, whatever you are getting input, the message body means the payload, that is the actual message, is stored in that particular variable. One variable is defined in the memory when the message is getting processed from step 1 to step 2, step 2 to step 3. And if you want to capture the message, like in the content modifier, one variable is given to you. In that variable, you can see the actual payload, actual message. If you want to see that message, you need to print the variable value, right? That variable is $in.body. Is this clear?
Okay. Mhm.
So you saw the difference, right? When you are printing $in.body, so when you are taking expression, you are able to display the message payload, because you are simply displaying the variable value. Is this clear?
Yes.
So now if you really understand how it is useful, then you can understand applying this in multiple ways and multiple different scenarios. So there is a variable defined to see the payload and capture the payload. And with the payload, along with the incoming payload, if you want to add some static message on the top, you are able to add it, right? XYZ.
Yeah, that's right.
You
XY.
also tested. So you added some static message on the top. Immediately following it, you are also capturing the variable value. The variable is already having our original message. Suppose if you add XYZ in the content modifier 1, in content modifier 2, ABC, if you add, what will be the output? ABC,
Oh.
XYZ, and then original message.
So that means you're telling it's a constant instead of expression.
Instead of expression, if it is constant.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Then it
you
is,
can you can add value, right? Not only message body, you can also modify exchange parameters and then header values. These three are the things you can modify in content modifier. When we go to the content modifier, we can discuss all three in detail. But for now, content modifier is capable of modifying the content. Content means whatever the input you get from right from the previous step. For the step 1, the input content is your input. For step 4, input is step 3 output. So for now, you remember like that.
No, no.